Development Agency for Port Orange Town Center is presented.
Second.
Okay, motion second. As presented, additional comments? Would you call the roll?
George Dunlawton.
Yes.
Bob Coleman.
Yes.
Dennis Kennedy.
Yes.
James Rudolph.
Yes.
Thomas Gordon.
Yes.
Kevin Martin.
Yes.
Yes. Ben, you wanted to go back about the previous one?
Yeah, on that subject where we're having all this flooding on Dunlawton at Spruce Creek there, and I know we're talking about all that water that's going east down in those canals and trying to go out into the river when the river's at its high tide, they ain't got anywhere to go. And then when it's finally opened up, then you got all that water that's finally coming through from out Nova Road, working its way east into the river to catch the low tide so that they can dump a little bit of it. But there was so much water that was backed up that it took 3 days or 4 days for it to get to a manageable level. My question is, who owns Dunlawton at that intersection? Is it the city or the county or the state?
The Dunlawton Avenue itself is owned by the state.
Okay, so the state owns it now. And I don't have any estimates in money, but it would seem to be, instead of us figuring out how to retrofit going west, which means plumbing and pumps and all that kind of stuff to get this water, because I don't know if you could ever build a retention pond that could hold that much water. And when we have that hurricane and this flooded condition, you're still going to have floods. Wouldn't it be, I don't know if it'd be simpler, but wouldn't it be better to think about raising Dunlawton within 100 yards, just 100 yards, right there where that thing is lowered, where it's real low there, and just bring that in there and raise it so that so that the road at least will be dry and the properties on both sides will continue to be wet. That ain't going to change, but at least that's an emergency exit. And if you can't get them people out of there, during that 4 years ago, the only reason I got out is I followed a police car that went up Herbert Street, and the water was inside my car, but I had a Tahoe. That's how, and a police car led me through, and I got up to Nova.
Did somebody I know leave late?
Pardon?
Did somebody I know that lives on the river leave late? Is that what happened?
I left about 11 o'clock.
Let me
that might be another consideration if you're only talking about raising a couple of feet just in that area.
Okay, I think that is part of the engineering discussion, is that the variety of options, and I would imagine FDOT will look at that, but from their side of the house, if they are impacting adjacent property owners, that will become unacceptable, because now they have potentially created a problem, even though there may have been one there in the past. By impounding the water on those people, they may get a chance to purchase properties.
That way, in the overall master, when they're throwing out what ifs, that was consideration. It was kind of early in. That just didn't work. It just didn't work.
I think that,
see how many millions you're going to spend putting it retrofitting westward.
Yeah.
That's going to take some money.
well, I think what you have is that if there's a multi-pronged approach. First thing is that a flood or an event like you had back in May, there's an entirely different approach that you're going to have to take for the excess water above their normal flow characteristics. And if you've been following a discussion we've been having with adjacent cities, that's what we've been talking about. Then there is the process of talking about what is the normal flow that is going into the canal systems on an everyday basis. And what the projections from the Water Management District is that about 8 million gallons a day that is flowing through those canals. And that is a portion, as you're now beginning to look at what the Water Management District is telling the city, is that by 2021 we've got to develop an alternative water source. And when we did the testing for them, could that water source come out of the canal systems? And the answer was definitely yes. By 2021, the projections of what we can take out of groundwater, and that's our wells, will be potentially reduced by St. John's. And unless we have a viable alternative water plant in place and moving in that direction, we may be faced with that option. of having our water consumptive use reduced. Now, you may not like it, but it's a lot cheaper to talk about this particular option or these types of options than it is to go to desalinization. Now, long term, we'll probably be in some type of desalinization, but what you're trying to do is preserve your water, potable water resource for as long as you can before you go to the most expensive option. Now, we got the technology to do that option of desalinization. Now, there's some problems with the salinity disposal that comes out of it. And I know they do it worldwide, and they do it here in the United States, and there are ways of handling it. We've heard the mayor's discussion about building it offshore and piping it in, and that's an option. But at the same time, what the Water Management District is encouraging is that as we look at the issues along the canal system, that we think about it in a holistic approach, with portions of that being looked as actually capturing a part of the both stormwater and the water that is running down the streams every single day, and then reusing that water in terms of either it's part of our reclaimed water system, or impounding it and then using it into the future as part of our, and mixing it with our current water that is coming in from our water wells and using it as a water source. And so I think that we can accomplish both. But I think, Ben, if we're talking about trying to address, pumping all the water west in a storm event like we had last May, you're not going to make that. You're going to have to develop an entirely different type of system to handle those types of events. That's exactly what we did in Cambridge. We're holding most of the water under a normal event, but in those extraordinary events, we'll have to pump it. Same thing down here too.
And the reason that the river is screwed up is that we drained all the swamps directly into the river. You've got to do something different. If you look at how you're getting rid of water today, you're intercepting that stuff. So you got to think differently. You just got to change it. Is anything else to come before us?
Jim?
Oh, did you have something?
I was just going to say, on the agenda was the third quarter report, and
Oh.
since you're short for time, we can either pick that up on the 28th or just if there's any questions.
The 28th, and what time's our meeting on the 28th? Okay, are y'all available at 5:30?
Fine.
I think
Okay,
it's
we'll go
5:30.
If we survive Saturday, I guess we'll be making